Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Lion of Code. I am One Lion, and these tunes, oh my goodness, these tunes are something. They are amazing. Transform. Center horizontally, please. Arigato. I am loving them. That last one was really, really good. I loved it. Oh my gosh. Anyway, hi, happy Monday. So apparently pushing the done button in OBS and forgetting to change the title doesn't actually do anything for the stream title. So I updated the title. Hopefully it's showing correctly now. It should be. As well as the starting screen. Let me turn this down just a smidgen. Hello, mic check, mic check. Okay. Looks correct. I don't think so. I am not up for one today, but I appreciate the enthusiasm. But hello, Dukasoft. Hello, Napalm. Hello, Amanita. And hello, Disco. All of you who have said hello already this morning. I hope you're having a fantastic start of your day. I am working on it. Just getting over a little bit of anxiety is all. So many things going on. Yeah, true. True. Oh man, unless that means Yomu love. Napalm says, I'm annoyed. I spent all weekend getting Blazor working with Duende off. It seems Blazor Wasm debug is now completely broken. Has to be preview bits. Why do I do these things to myself? Blazor Wasm debug is not broken. I mean, Blazor Wasm debug is better than it used to be, but no worse than it used to be. Yeah, I don't quite know how to word that. So what do you mean by broken? Completely broken. Oh, in .NET 8 preview bits? So I haven't spent very much time in preview because, again, 1,028 different things going on. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. Honestly don't know, to be honest. In an honest way. Go over here. Go up here. Bring this up. Whoosh. You. You. Okay. I think I am, for the most part, set up. Back to this. That's what I'm saying. I should have waited. Well, let's just do that. Let's figure it out. Oh, I can't. I can't, can I? Visual Studio Installer. I was going to say let's do it on stream, but I don't have Visual Studio Preview installed. I'll let that try to install over here on the side. Excuse me, scooch back over her. Okay, so while I let that install, we will go ahead and continue with what we were doing. So on the stream, we have been working on this financial management calculator. We've been working on the calculator for the financial management tracker application. And I have restarted. Well, I want to try it with the auth crap. That's the thing. I want to see how it's behaving for you. But I mean, definitely for you. Definitely for your trial and error. Okay, and the bot is connecting. Says is connected. Bot says it's connected. Says bot connected is. It. I'm just checking all the boxes. Check all the boxes. And there we go. I'm installing everything, including... Yeah. Makes perfect sense. Yeah, .NET 8 runtime. Gooch. Do the thing. Okie dokie. So that is currently installing. So over here we have a Visual Studio layout that I am confused about. So like I reset my settings and just a whole bunch of stuff, and now everything is all over the place and I don't know what's where. I don't even see my test explorer. Whatever. If I push Control RT, my test explorer will show up magically. Okay, so let's try this again. There is our project link that Dukasoft so kindly tried to post earlier. The Financial Management Tracker is an app that we've been working on the stream that shows not only full stack Blazor development, but cross-platform development as well, using Microsoft technologies, where Blazor is our main UI approach thing, the thing that we're doing all of our UI in. And then we have various target application types or platforms, if you will. So we have Blazor WebAssembly, which is a combination of a hosted API backend and the client frontend. Blazor Server, which is everything contained in one. All of it. The MAUI version of the app, which will allow us to target Android, iOS, Mac, Tizen, Windows. And that uses the same hosted API backend. And the WPF version, that is pretty much the Windows part of this MAUI application. And some fun UI stuff that we were playing around with when BitGamey was here. And ¿qué más? So those are all of our application types. As you can see, we can do web, desktop, and mobile. My headphones were turned down. That's no fair. I like getting freaked out by that. Anyway, hi Apocalypse. Sorry for my headphones being turned down. You would have got me because I wasn't expecting that. Feels bad, man. Feels so bad. Not the only time. It happens like you make me jump out of my pants every time, or just about every time. Provided my headphones are turned up. Hello, Clayman. Clayman's little hero. If you guys don't know Clayman, he's making a game called Epic Hero. Epic Hero? It's called Epic Hero, right? Anyway. It's always a fun time over on his stream while he is doing the shenanigans and making things happen in Unity. Okay, so in trying to get my consecutive operation, which one were we working on? Consecutive operators working, I somehow broke the divide by zero. And that's because somehow I changed the display num output to blank, to go blank. Thank you for that shout out to Clayman. If you're not following him already, you should see a way to follow him above, although I'm pretty sure just about all of you know him. Yeah, okay, so I am clearing out the display num. I'm not angry at that. I think we're going to keep that as a feature. Let me do this one. That was intentional, of course. That's how we wanted it to be the whole time. And there we go. Okay, so now what happened to the consecutive operations totaling? So why is it blank when 0? This is so odd. So this is the second test, which is 1 plus 22 plus, which is the first test. Okay. So what should this do? 1 plus 22 plus. Yeah, I really do want the input display num don't I? Yeah, to be 0. I want the input display num to be 0 in that case. Why isn't it? So let's go fix our logic so that this test passes. Instead of changing the test, we will change the logic the way that we're supposed to. It works on the client, but not when you host the client with ASP.NET. No. Please continue as much as you want. If it helps you to understand what's going on by typing it out, please feel free to. Absolutely. I may ask questions though, if you do, or point things out. So it sounds like you're saying, when you have your Blazor WASM with hosted API and you run using IIS Express, that's when it's having issues with debugging? If so, that has always been the case. But if you are saying, even if you use Kestrel, so use use your hosted API as the startup project and the way that you're going to run it, the application type, I don't know what it's called. And your debug experience is having issues, then it's definitely possible it's the preview bits. So for example, I have a breakpoint here in my .razor markup. I'm going to run the app with the debugger attached because it's already stopped. I'm going to really quick resave my profile, my layout called my default with my developer PowerShell. Showing and test explorer. Okay, so here we go. I mean, I really had no idea what to call that. I always just called it running it in Kestrel. I didn't know that it was actually ASP.NET Core host, because in both cases, the host is using ASP.NET Core as the host. So I don't know. Okay. Did you already hit the breakpoint or something? No. So you can see here that it's pretty much indicating that the symbols are not loaded. Nor is the page. Okay, so it did load symbols. So if I open up my calculator, then we do hit the breakpoint. And this is running Kestrel in Visual Studio Community 2022, not preview. Git add my default plus git commit message. Yes, I'm cool. Yeah, you are. Okay, so since we are in debug, we may as well just leave it running in debug while I try to figure out this calculator thing. Could be the lack of inspect URL. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're talking about things that happen under the hood that get set up that I never really pay attention to, but that Visual Studio sets up for you. My goodness, so many things. People Experience presents on Thursday. I don't know, tentative. And I don't need that open. I would prefer for you to be collapsed and run. I'm curious though, if I save that layout, okay, that's what I thought. So if I save layouts that happen in run mode, that does not change my layouts that I saved in whatever this is called, not running mode, in dev mode. So we'll just keep this as my default so that it saves my run mode settings to house. Okie dokie. So as I said, we'll keep the debugger attached while I do this thing with the calculator code behind. I seem to be running out of breath quite a bit while I'm saying this stuff. Has nothing to do with the panic attack. Nope, not at all. Feeling claustrophobic too. Okay, so we want 1 plus 22 plus to output 0. And is that how I ended up eventually being able to fix the consecutive equals? No, because that outputs the current value. Yeah, I really, 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 really want that to give me the actual value in my displayed output or displayed input. So if opt2use has value and we have a current value and we are not submit, then last operation.operator equals that. If not calc error, then displayed input num equals calculated value. So we should be hitting this point even if I am pushing another operator. Plus 6 plus, and I am. So my displayed input num is 49. If we are not submit, handle clear clicked. Which part of clear clicked clears out our whole num part num? Interesting. So what happens if I put this? Oh my gosh. What happens if I restore the displayed input num? It tells me you get an error. You're gonna hot reload for me? It is. Supposedly. Allegedly. 5? Okay. So we've restored displayed input. Oh. Err. It's very confusing. I'm gonna blame it on not actually getting hot reload code changes. Come on, you can do it, PowerShell. I said you can do it. I know you can. Now, which one are you? Okay. We go back to here. Wait for the application to launch. The what? The application. It needs to launch. Lunch. Night. Night. Ooh. Ooh. Unable to load. Why are you trying to? We're not using it for this app. Oops, wrong button. Just NuGet, man. We don't need the other libraries. I mean, other feeds. What? Oh, dearie. Why are you trying to connect to these other feeds? Here. We'll force a refresh and see if it's okay. Are you okay now? Yes, it's okay now. What? Why is it trying to use the other feeds when I don't have any dependencies? Any NuGet references to those? You're not in, well, I don't know whether or not you are an idiot, but are you truly? Do you really think of yourself as that? I don't think you do, because you've proven that you are fairly intelligent and not an idiot. Ooh. Ooh, that is a question. Okay, hello, Jula Wayne? Jewel Wayne? Let me know how to pronounce that, or just Wayne, or just Jewel. Just let me know. Or Joanne? Anyway, my company tasked me to migrate a large ancient service from .NET Framework 2, like for real .NET Framework 2, or 4.2, or is there even a 4.2? I'm pretty sure there's a 4.2. Anyway, to .NET 6. I never had such trouble getting into a framework technology. Any advice? Oh my gosh, yes, .NET Framework 2. 2? Let me read off Napalm's statement real quick because it's easier. Okay, yep, it works for me. So when I had to create the server project, ASP.NET Core host manually, since the preview, it's not a checkbox currently. I installed 7x Wasm server for an 8 client. Underscore. Okay, on to the question. Any advice on migrating .NET Framework 2 application to .NET 6? First of all, what's the project type? Is it a web app? Is it a desktop app? I'm assuming it's going to be a web app. But then again, if it's ancient, then the ancient technologies to modern folk are VB.NET or WinForms. .NET Framework 2. Yeah, I have a whole bunch of questions to ask you. So if you don't mind answering them, I'll give you my honest answer. Or I guess the questions that I would ask are the ones that I would advise you to consider. What is the functionality of the application? Can you sketch it out? Can you define what this application does? How many moving parts are there? Because going from such an old technology to current would be a lot harder than just going iteratively through like .NET Framework 2, upgrade that to .NET Framework. Is there even a 3? Like, I started using .NET Framework in 4.7 or ASP. Like, I've done ASP Classic and I've done ASP.NET 2, unless that's what you're, or ASP2, which is ASP.NET, the first version of it, unless that's what you're talking about. And then I started doing ASP.NET or .NET Framework 4.x. And then I moved to .NET Core. 3.5, ugh. So yeah, it might be going from .NET Framework 2 to .NET Framework 3.5 to .NET Framework 4. Something. So it might just be more beneficial to step through each of the frameworks and upgrade to the equivalent parts. All right, Napalm. Absolutely. .NET Framework 3.5. Yeah. Is run away an option? I would tackle this head on though. I would love this type of project. So anyway, if that's not an option, or if that is the only option for you, like you have to migrate in place, you have to upgrade in place, then again, it would be finding the equivalent parts and pieces, libraries that you need to keep the app functioning by going from one major .NET release at a time. So from .NET 2 to .NET 3, .NET 3, Framework 3 to .NET Framework 4, and then .NET Framework 4 to .NET Core. That one you might be able to make the leap directly from .NET Framework 4.x to .NET Core, or to .NET 6. But yeah. Okay, so you might not need the intermediary step of going to .NET Framework 3. You might be able to go to latest .NET Framework 4.x, which is what our chat member, community member, Lintner, NS Lintner, is saying. Just try to get it to run in current .NET framework, and then maybe go from that to .NET 6. Rewrite it in Rust, always an option. I say no to that. No, thank you. I mean, if you already know Rust and that's a technology they want to use and maintain, then of course. Great test, split up the code, upgrade to core. Yep. Cool. So those are great advices. Simple and succinct and said in short what I'm trying to say. But what I would personally do if I was in charge of a project like that and I was accepted to be the one to work on it, since I'm able to make those types of decisions, I would sketch out what the application does and rewrite it like completely. So I mean, I would still attempt to use existing logic, but for the most part, like, can I show that? Like, for example, at my previous job, all of the apps that I was migrating and modernizing were written in JSP, Java Servlet Pages, and they needed to go from that to a Microsoft technology. So at the time, .NET Framework 4.7 was latest. And so I went from those JSP apps to a ASP.NET Framework 4.7 MVC application. And I was working there long enough that I was able to go from .NET Framework 4.7 to .NET Core. And it was 3.1 and then 5 and then 6. So their apps are now at .NET 6 coming from JSP through .NET Framework. So not quite what you're talking about, but at the same time, it was essentially a rewrite of the applications. I got to use a lot of the UI. Actually, I scrapped most of the UI, to be honest, because the way they put together the HTML markup was like, even I know not to do things this way, but whatever. So it was a lot easier, is what I'm trying to say, to just look at the logic, write another app that performs this logic. Maybe I'll borrow some of the rendered HTML. Maybe I'll borrow some of the business logic that they used. Like, a lot of the stuff that they used were stored procedures in the database, which is cool. I mean, it's still not a terrible thing to do. I still prefer having all of my application specific logic running in the application, especially since those stored procedures were only used by the one application. And there's like 9 applications total that I converted. And none of them really had overlapping stored procedures. I think maybe there was one app that did call another databases. So most of the apps have their own database, but there was one app that called one of the other databases stored procedures, but that's it. So anyway, what I ended up doing was I took all of the stored procedures, turned them into C# code, unless it was easier to keep them as stored procedures, and just rewrote all of the code using modern programming techniques, because again, if you're converting a legacy application, it's likely that the best practices have changed since the original code was written, and maybe the quality of code. So it might benefit you to rewrite it. What do you mean with modern techniques? So, for example, threading has changed quite a bit in the .NET ecosystem. So, using async await versus a lot of locks. Yeah, 42 projects in total. So, I mean, it's definitely a matter of taking it in chunks as well. So if there's a way for you to convert one project without it breaking the rest of them, then that would be, of course, a good way to go. Maybe tackle all of the ones that don't have dependencies from other projects or on other projects. I really, really like Lintner's suggestion to make sure that you split the code up so that all of your business logic is in one library, one probably class library, and then all of your UI is in another library, all of your shared models and DTOs and stuff are in their own library, and then create tests for each of them for all of the logic. Yeah. And then you get to know the app very, very well, says Lintner. Absolutely. What else do I mean by modern techniques? So there were things that were just accepted as okay, maybe on teams that didn't have a higher standard. One thing that I ran into a lot was stuff like if some value that might return true or false, and then inside of that, directly inside of that, another check for if some other value that might return true or false, then do this thing. And it's like, you could just, nest that, or not nest that, but roll it up into one if statement. String concatenation would be another thing. So it is common to have seen a whole bunch of string concatenation that's done like this, as opposed to some string using string interpolation. That's just bad code. Always has been. True. So things like how you concatenate strings, format strings. Yeah. So again, string.format is fine, but there are a lot of instances where code was originally written with string concatenation like this. And it's a really small performance improvement. Maybe it also helps with readability for some people, maybe not. And now that you mentioned that, Lintner, yeah, again, oh my gosh, inversion of control has changed a lot. That is IOC, right? As well as the DI container. So dependency injection as a whole. And yeah, that's fine, Mastery 7. If you don't mind the string concatenation, that's fine. However, the current best practice is to use interpolated strings or string.format. Yeah, and there you go. So when I say different methodologies, when I say different programming techniques, so that type of string concatenation was C, C++y type code. And we have different ways of doing it in modern C#. So, and then of course, standardizing everything. Because legacy applications have been maintained for so long, different hands have been on it, and therefore different programming practices and formatting and variable naming, so naming conventions and all that. So taking it as an opportunity to standardize naming conventions is another great reason to just rewrite an extremely old app. But at the same time, your employer or whoever is paying you to do the work might be like, well, can't you just, upgrade in place? We don't have the budget for you to go writing original code from scratch. Then if after stating your point, notice not arguing with them or stating your argument, but stating your point that it will be a lot more beneficial to just rewrite because of how old the code is, how hard it will be to find libraries that will replace the ones that your legacy code is using, and they're still like, no, do it in place, then that's where you could still do the get it working on latest framework and then make the jump from framework to .NET 6. As well as still split up the code so that your business logic and all of that are in their own libraries. Cool. Okay. So yeah, anyway, feel free to ask any more questions on that. I will read out more chat. I feel like a lot of the old C code was written better than the newer code is written. So yeah, I mean, there are things, I don't know, like old C code makes you consider allocating memory space and like how much RAM is my application using? What threads do I need to manage? So it makes you think differently. And with C#, since it's managed code, unmanaged. Anyway, it does all of the threading and resource allocation for you. Then we don't really consider that as much while we're developing. I mean, you learn some tricks along the way for saving cycles, but it's pretty well optimized that you really don't have to think about that stuff as much. So I like rewriting to remove development constraints, such things like removing too much inheritance that might make it hard to add new features, not to prettify the code. Readability is still just as important in maintaining a code base as writing good code, like taking good approaches for your project structures, for your class structures, for your inheritance, for your DI, all of that stuff. Having the code easy to read and maintain is still pretty important. So it's not to be completely thrown aside, in my opinion. Data access also changed. A lot. Like the project might not even use Entity Framework. I mean, with .NET Framework 2, I don't think it could. Yeah, true. But again, considering the entire picture of here is legacy code, here are all of the things that are potentially, like, again, do your code review first. See all of the projects, see how they're structured, see if you can actually convert in place, first thing to do. Can you just upgrade to the latest .NET framework and replace packages? Can you reuse a lot of the existing code? Or is it like structured in such a way that makes it really hard to maintain, really hard to follow, really hard to read, like the projects were that I was working on? And again, I only had, gosh, I want to come up with the right number here. Can I even log into this? Okay, I had 1, 2, let's go with just the web apps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 web apps, and then everything else was a desktop app or something that I added in order to make the user experience better or the overall maintenance of the applications easier. So again, these were going from JSP. I don't even think I have the, yeah, I do. Ooh, pretty. Original web apps. Yeah, let's go to Vegemon. Vegemon. Org. Not org. Com. Com is what I said. Okay, so for example, here are all of the essentially controllers that are called from the front end. So I have a page called import, and you try to read the Java code that they have in line, and then you follow it to the JavaScript functions, and then you see that those JavaScript functions are doing AJAX calls, which somehow trigger the controller method or action. So learning Java was fun. And I remembered a lot of Java from university, but oh man, I had to relearn it all. So anyway, having this kind of structure just didn't work for me, especially not for maintaining the app. So when I was converting from Java to .NET, then that's, well, first of all, going from Java to C#, not too different enough. So that did require a little bit of rewrite, but turning these into controller actions instead made perfect sense to me. And then grouping some of them together so that they're in the same controller made sense as well. And yeah, just overall rewriting the code so that I'm using better techniques than what was used before. In doing so, I also found that there were plenty of places where the comment would say the code is doing one thing and it would be doing something completely different. I miss the RMA stuff too. Maybe we'll be able to go back to it someday, depending on how things turn out with them. We'll see. And then maybe we could do all-day streams again too. So anyway, yeah, going from this to .NET was essentially like going from a different version of .NET Framework to .NET Core eventually. And that's why I really, really, really still am in favor of doing a rewrite when needed. Yeah, upgrades definitely take time. These are, so I really like Lintner's insights on these. Be careful not to give them option for quick solutions. Upgrades take time, and repeating an app is probably upgrading or migrating an app is actually hard, but an amazing learning opportunity. Yeah, so I did have the benefit of and the opportunity to do this entire rewrite of all of these apps, which, by the way, I finished all of the web apps in 1 year, all of the migrations. So it's definitely possible that a rewrite will still take a lot less time than trying to upgrade in place. So anyway, yeah, I don't know what would have happened if they needed me to just upgrade the Java applications and keep maintaining those. Oh my gosh, like the worst one was this RMA water one with an Esri ArcGIS map. And charts. Oh, the charts. I mean, I have to show this. I kind of dropped what I was saying. I'm sorry. But take a look at... Oh, where is this thing? One of my favorite data types. Maybe it's in Chart Builder. Here. One of my favorite data types from Java. Here we go. But where's all of the... Okay, so array list And in an array list, you can essentially put anything that you want, and it'll just come out as that type in the array. I'm not going to find this because I'm looking for it and I'm just trying to rush through it. But they pretty much had an array list with an array list inside of it with indexes to decide which field you're looking at, as opposed to some kind of object. Yeah, so like these export rows, as opposed to some kind of object that says that first thing dot property name, yeah, daily calculations 1, daily calculations 2, 3, and it's like, what do each of these mean, man? Oh, the fun time. Oh my gosh. Blah. Blah. Anyway, hello, Lacey. Good if I get to use Java. And here you are with Java. Oh man. Anyway, Thindle is upgrading stuff as well. So says Dukasoft. Thank you for the reminder. Thindle is going from legacy.NET framework stuff to .NET Core as well, including some work in Blazor. Yeah, if you can get to Blazor with whatever it is that you're doing, you're going to be golden, because Blazor is amazing and fun. It's not perfect and it's not for everything, but it is a lot of fun regardless. Oh, awesome. Yeah, please feel free to use us as a resource. We have a Discord channel where you can ask questions if you have any. We have at least 3, I'm going to just say 3 as a hard number, 3 people who are well versed at migrating legacy applications, migrating, upgrading, modernizing. Like that was what I did for the Rocky Mountain Arsenal for 4 years total. It was 2 plus 1. Don't ask me who the plus 1 is. I'm just assuming that I'm forgetting someone that has told us that they do this. Or 3. Liquid's here. 1 month of corporate life. Oof. How's it going? How's it doing? Mastery said, I talk to a lot of customers that do rewrites with the old one in place. It always takes time, but I never see devs be more proud. Absolutely. Here's an example of upgrade in place. The app that I'm working on for the client that I work for through Sagetti, and because I mentioned their name, note that I'm an employee of Sagetti. However, any views and opinions that I express on this channel are my own and not necessarily the views and opinions of Sagetti. So Sagetti is a consulting firm. They have me working for a client that I can't say who it is. And they had an app that's existed since 1933, maybe, or 34. And they needed help modernizing the UI. So I took a design, I created a Blazor UI on top of it, or using that, and then I hooked up all of their existing code to my design. No actual changes to the code behind per se. And now we are in the process of bringing that code up to better standards, easier to maintain, adding functionality. So it's been really, really difficult. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. It's been really difficult to keep all of the original code intact so we don't break anything that's in production, without being able to essentially rewrite parts and pieces of the underlying code that really, really need a rewrite. So it's stressful, it's difficult, and right now I'm currently stressing over some things that are happening in the app that are needing to be done yesterday, or actually last week Thursday. Okay, I did miss this comment though, up here, way up here. You still didn't tell me how to pronounce your name though. Is it Julawan? And it was good advice. There are 42 projects. It was down here a little further. Okay, they use an old link library with handwritten serializers, as far as I know. Yeah. I jumped around a lot. Don't mind the spazzing eye. That's just stress. Possibly dehydration. Master Rat's here. That would have been a mission impossible when Tom Cruise couldn't do. Then even Tom Cruise couldn't do it. And then I read Masteries. I said hello to Lisi, Liquid. President Not Sure said just 1 month. Uh-oh. I've already dropped a thread. What was just 1 month? Thanks for all your advice. My employee had made several attempts to migrate the app, so I'm the last hope. And my time is unlimited. Oh, yeah. I was trying to get at that. When I worked for the Rocky Mountain Arsenal, I was able to make all of the decisions for what technologies to use, for how to rewrite. And it was me and one other person, and the other person was a help desk person that came over to do programming for the first time in their lives. And so we together worked on all of the apps and got them converted. And it was so much fun. Working in technologies that were just coming out. Oh, I got to play with Blazor as soon as it came out. It was so nice. I would also target net 7 instead of 6 if possible. Yeah, completely agree with President Not Sure there. If they want you to go to net 6 anyway, you may as well go to net 7. Plus me as well. That been almost a year of my experience. I mean, +1 plus me. So yeah, so how about now 4? Just in case I'm missing anyone else. Scout is, Sout is not recommended for logging. When were we talking logging? First I was in .NET, and later they shifted me in Java using Spring Boot. Is it a client that rhymes with Smamazon? No, it isn't. You can keep guessing if you want, but no. Thindle's here. Hello, Thindle. Did you actually say hello a lot earlier when Dukasoft shouted you out, or was he just being cool and shouting you out because you do modernization and migration stuff too? He even has a Thindle command. He added it to Stream Elements. Nice, Dukasoft. Yes. I did a funny if anyone wants to try out a funny. So like Bang funny? No. What do you mean you did a funny? Pulls Fingle's Thindle's finger. Fingle's Thinder. Fingle has a Thinder. Today, on One Line of Code, we will be reading chat for the next hour. Don't stress, it's bad for you. Oh, it's not stress, it's anxiety. I don't know if you know the difference. But I did say stress though. I have been stressing. Yes, you're right. I said that about 10 minutes ago regarding updating crappy code instead of writing from scratch. But the 1 month? I'm losing track of chat. Oh yeah. Right. Starting to get super duper dyslexic today. There is a hydrate reward. You just do bang water. Or I guess it's not a redeem. You just do bang water. And yeah, of course I'm gonna seem calm. It's what I do. So regardless of how much stress there is, I typically try to externally emote a sense of calm because it helps me out to not be as freaked out and stressed out as I actually am. Oop, there we are. Oh. Oh, the good water. It's so tasty. If you're going to .NET 7, wait like 2 months and go .NET 8 LTS. True. Yeah. Also true. And Peter says, I had problems downloading Net 8 SDK. I spent a full 2 minutes on it, then realized there are extra Visual Studio things to install for it as well. Nice. Anyway, give it a solid try. I gave it a solid try, 2 minutes. Nice. Well, .NET 8 will be official in November, which everyone will be programming in by then. Right now they are giving training on Java, and I was really loving C#, the link and ref keyword args, out, returning multiple values from functions. I loved C#. I'm sorry. Oh, standard out. Okay. Standard out is not recommended for logging. Gotcha. Wait, did you actually see some in the code that I was showing? Is that why you brought it up? Yeah, you did. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and this was code that was in production too. Like there's not even a debug dot anything or something surrounding it that says only do this in debug. Oh my goodness. I don't even know what JSP does with these as it is. I'm going to keep trying to catch up on chat. Gilgamesh is here. Hello, Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh says to Peter, do you suggest any resources I can go through to learn debugging in .NET web apps? Specifically you, Peter. You must answer. And Gilgamesh wants to change projects with Liquid. Gilgamesh wants to do Java. Thindle says .NET tool install global bacon. Then do .NET bacon. Oh, you created it. Okay. That's an interesting. Where did my actual second window go? What's going on? Okay, that was really, really weird. It's still weird. Why? There may have been a few things that changed lately. I don't exactly know what's going on with my multiple PowerShell tabs, but that's fine. Anyway, .NET tool install global bacon. Do I have to install it globally? Do I really have to install it globally? Whatever. Oops, not dot. You're so aggressive. You must install this globally now. Oh, but I want to see it, so I'll install it globally. I'll do it later after I catch up in chat. Give me a second, please. Okay, and then we'll do .NET Bacon afterwards. So Peter says to Gilgamesh, use the debugger. Are you asking me about my favorite tool? Use curl. Took me all of 30 minutes. Bacon. Gilgamesh said to Peter, last time you said debugging in C# is really easy. We did say that. So it was more than just Peter that was talking about that. But yeah, install Visual Studio Community. If you're doing non-corporate dev, then use the debugger there. That's pretty much it. Put breakpoints in places, use the tools that Visual Studio gives you to debug with, and yeah, And so since I am seeing the Bang water again, I am going to drink more because I can really use it. Sadly, it's corporate. Okay, so then do you have Visual Studio either Enterprise if it's a large enough corporation, or Visual Studio Professional if it's not that big? In any case, use Visual Studio to debug. That's what we were trying to get at. It's pretty easy when you use the tooling that's intended for you to be developing .NET on. VS Code is inferior for C# dev. I agree. So it's a hot take, but one that I agree with. You can use Community if your company has less than 6 developers and your turnover is under 2 million USD. C# is a good language and it has good features. It is faster than Java. Peter says to Thindle, tears. Congrats on catching up with chat. I am still not caught up. What do you mean? I'm gonna be reading this for the rest of the stream. Okay, Peter said to Thindle, okay, that was a thumbs up emoji. I did not mean to Bible thump. Nice. All right, Julian says, does anyone know a good .NET sample project from Microsoft Docs? I won't figure out what's current best practice in .NET. Again, it depends. So there's a lot of questions about what you mean by Microsoft .NET project or sample. There are so many different .NET project types, which that might be a drawback for some people. They're like, there are just too many options. What do I choose? You have console apps, .NET web apps, which is different than Blazor, which is different than web APIs, which is different than class libraries, which is different than Razor class libraries, which is different than worker services. So when you say good .NET projects, are you targeting web, desktop, mobile, etc., etc.? Because we will absolutely be able to point you to places depending on that. But the answer for all of your UI needs is Blazor. I love Blazor, if you couldn't tell. Then Peter said to Gilgamesh said to Liquid, mine is corporate as well. Then Peter said to Gilgamesh, hopefully someone else in chat can help you. I learned so long ago, and I don't know where to point you. Anyway, learn it. It's great. And then Lacey says, I has to leave for now. Excuse-moi. Excusez-moi. I hope you all enjoy. Lovely seeing you. Same. Enjoy. It's Fanny client runs a double. I don't know how to read that. I apologize for any inconvenience it may cause you. Thindle says to Gilgamesh, what's your skill level? Want to learn C#? Want to learn web dev specifically or Windows dev? Napalm is back. AFK, you're muted. I can't hear anything. Okay. Shall I, Peter? Live Peter. You love C#. I agree. Helps to update all the preview things to preview versions. So relieved. Yeah, that's a good thought. Microsoft won't tell you in the docs. Don't do that anymore. Here's a better approach. That's what you mean. Yeah, so there is the main.NET repo. As far as when you're writing C# code, then follow these guidelines. So maybe that's the type of thing that you're talking about looking for, not necessarily project specific, but when it comes to C#, here are some typical best practices, most accepted practices. The other thing that they have is the naming conventions guide. C#. says coding conventions. That's the one that I was just at. Not C# corner. Not that one. It's actually on the .NET GitHub, the one that I'm looking for. Excuse me, do you have a link to your GitHub? I do like this blog. It's pretty good at simplifying it a little bit. Not that one. Guidelines. Well, there you go. You can follow this whole thing to get there. I really liked using the one that was on their GitHub for .NET, but I can't find it super duper easily. Or maybe I can. Yeah. So I like this abbreviated thing. So there's 3 resources for identifying at least the naming conventions that they use when they are coding .NET itself. And then the naming guidelines for C# in general. So this will probably be a good way to get started on those. All right, where am I? Where are we? Just 1 week, 5 days of learning. C#, very good language to learn. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I started C# in 2014. I was doing VB before that, VB.NET, and then before that, regular VB in ASP. And then before that, VB6. And during that time, VBA, Visual Basic for Microsoft Applications. So making the switch from VB to C# was, my brain went. So while I was in university, I was learning C, C++, Java, no .NET at all. So that was also a mind flayer. Very new to C#, and they put me on .NET, very poorly documented project. I went through breakpoint tutorials on YouTube and LinkedIn, but not working the same since they are showing console and mine is web app. Right. So there are some techniques that you can use for web apps specifically. If you have a client side, that was all the stuff that we talked about where you can use console.writeLine. And you'll see stuff show up in the browser console. So when you have 12, you'll see it show up in here. If it's Razor syntax, then you should be able to put breakpoints in the C# code in your CS.html or .razor file. If it's server technology, you can put breakpoints just about anywhere and hit them. The main thing to consider is if it's an API and you're hitting a breakpoint in one of your API controllers that's been called from a client, the client may eventually time out if you sit at your breakpoint for too long. Multi-threading is often hard to debug, but that's anywhere. And then Thindle says to Gilgamesh, do the first and second tutorials on .NET Learn, C# in browser, console. Yeah, this is a pretty easy way to get started. So yeah, when you're following tutorials or reading about current programming practices, that's how you're going to find out what is good programming practice. You aren't necessarily going to see, like you said, the things that explicitly say, don't do this anymore, do this instead. What you will see is, here's what you should do. Period. And so you'll start to identify differences between, here's how it's currently coded with nested ifs, with nested for loops that could be rolled up, with dictionaries of objects instead of, or dictionaries of int, dictionary of int string, creating an actual object, all of those types of things. Run it a few times. There are multiple bacons. We'll do it. We'll do it soon. Okay, I'm going to start reading some of these quietly. Good about me is I'm getting IntelliJ. I can't read that one quietly because it was taking me a second to understand why you're getting IntelliJ. Yeah. Gilgamesh to Thindle. Got it. But they don't have how to debug through existing code. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Oh, yeah. I mean, just a quick search brings this up. I don't know if it's any good, but this takes you through debugging a console app. Which again, if you're using server-side technologies, it should be fairly similar to debug as it is doing a console app. This will also apply to debugging desktop applications that run locally on the machine. I feel like you just want to say that Microsoft is not sufficient. When I think they probably have enough resources, it's just harder to find. But yeah. But if there is anything in specific that you do want help debugging, then we can give you techniques for that. But just kind of giving you general debugging advice, it's go into Visual Studio. If it's on client-side code that is Razor, then you can put breakpoints in there. If it's HTML, you can't put breakpoints, or even components like this. You can only put breakpoints on C# code. To debug HTML, CSS, and JavaScript stuff, that's when you turn to the dev tools in the browser while the app is running. So I guess that's another tip, which is when you're debugging your client-side code or your HTML and JavaScript stuff, use the dev tools in the browser. Which even then, Microsoft does have some pretty cool tools, like being able to set breakpoints in your JavaScript in Visual Studio and hit them while the code is running in the browser. That's pretty nice. When you're done with the console exam, Layla Porter has a great start tutorial series. Cool. Honestly, I get more help than my trainer assigned in company. Thandle says if you have Visual Studio, you set breakpoints by clicking a number in the line. If you press F5 to debug or hit the play button or go to debug and start debugging or right click on a project, and there's plenty of ways to get the debugger attached, even to an existing running instance that doesn't have a debugger attached. Yeah, the other thing that I guess is a tip is, let's say that you have an inline statement. So I have lots of inline type stuff somewhere. Does anyone have a one-line if statement? Okay, well, imagine this was an if statement with a curly brace and then stuff to do, and I put it all in one line. If you wanted to, like in this case, only breakpoint on this first thing, then you have the cursor set there, and then you hit F, or you can tap F9 on your keyboard, or you can right click on it and set breakpoint. set breakpoint, insert breakpoint, whatever. In that way, in the same line, you can have multiple breakpoints if you wanted. And it will only be on the part of the code that you wanted to actually do the breakpoint on. If more things come up, then I'll bring them up. There's an auto watch there. And if it doesn't have what you're looking for, you can go to the regular watch and add a variable. TS really made JavaScript tolerable for me. I agree, Napalm. So I do a little bit of TS now, TypeScript now, not too much, but I converted all of my JavaScript interop to TypeScript, and I did love that. It was really nice to work with. Tyndall says, I think you can hover over a value too in default Visual Studio. Yeah, you can. Been using extensions for too long. You definitely can. And Keldazim, hello. Welcome in. I did same transition from VBA to C# and wasn't that easy. There are now more tools that you can get and plugins and stuff. So like there was one that I was using while converting the Java to C# called Java to C#. And I could copy a whole bunch of Java code, right click on it, and then say convert to C#. And it would give me the close equivalent. So all I had to do was a few tweaks, even though I still ended up rewriting the majority of the code anyway. But it at least got me a lot of the way there so I could fully understand what that code was supposed to be doing. And Sir Black Soul is here to say hi and wish everyone a wonderful start in their week. Just saying. Awesome. And then Napalm says, sweet, I have auth working in my solution. Victory is mine. And all it took was telling everything to be preview versions. With WASM debugging too, Napalm? Oh, hey, look at that. We caught up on chat and it was only 30 minutes. An hour and 30 minutes, but whatever. I'm going to try to take one more step forward. Here we go. Okay, that's right. We were going to do bacon. I'm going to open a regular PowerShell. And debugging is working well. Awesome. .NET install. .NET -- install. I always forget dash. .NET tool install global. If this says anything derogatory, I am banning you from the channel. What? Why? I have no idea why this thing is struggling so much with my armits packages. Okay, I see what's going on. My second PowerShell tab opened in a separate. There we go. And then you said do .NET Bacon after? Bacon. Multiple types of bacon. Bacon. How many types of bacon are there? 3? Ooh. There are 4. 4 types of bacon. If you want just one strip of bacon. Oh, Jess. Oh, Jess. Get up Copilot for CLI. Your daily advertisement has been brought to you by Sir Black Soul. Oh, that's what you mean. Yeah, that'd be crazy. Actually, you know what? I have not upgraded to the latest Insider Preview, but if I do, when I do, I should have Copilot for Microsoft 365 available, and I'm really interested to try it out. Oh, wait, he was being serious. Copilot for CLI. What? Nice. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Very, very cool stuff. Okay. What did I open? When did I open it? Why did I open it? Where did I open it? How? How did I open it? Word. Word is what I opened. And on my home, I do not see the Copilot button in the ribbon. So yeah, I need to figure out if this computer is on the Windows Insider, and if it is, then how do I upgrade? Well, obviously I know how to upgrade. So anyway, okay, here we are. We're back. We're back at the app. We're going to try to make things work and not be broken. We have a failing test that I want to get working again. And that is when I push 1 plus 22 plus, I want to see 23 as my output. Do I want to see 23 or 0? What does everything else do? Dude, squish. Where did I actually push Control Shift B? I think I might have pushed build. Oh, no, this is the build from trying to run the test, which failed because it's already running. I mean, the app is already running. Wow. I love this one though. Thank you so much for the bits. Ah, it's so short. I wish it was longer. That is a lot of bits for a sax man. Really appreciate that. Oh, drink coffee. I don't have any coffee, so I have a quota. That command is not going to do anything to me. My quota is 2 cups of coffee a day, and I'm done with that coffee by 7 o'clock. Second cup of coffee. $7 a.m. Yes. First cup is at 4:30, and then I finish that by around, depending on how deep into my work I am. Take a song. Why do I get up so horribly early? I start my day at 4:30 so that I can stream at 10:30 and still be off of work by 3:30 so that I have the rest of the day to do whatever I want with. And we got a shout out to Big Gamey and a gift sub from Sir Black Soul. Thank you so much, Sir Black Soul, for your gift sub to President Not Sure. Oh my gosh. Thank you. But then you have to go to bed. No. So, phrasing. Okay, so I get up at 4:30 and then I drink my coffee, do my work, go back up to refill my coffee around 5:50. Then I'm drinking my second cup of coffee while I'm doing my work. And I'm pointing this way because this is a screen that I do my actual work on. And then there is, oh, it's close to a hype train. And so I stop work completely at 7:30, do exercise, do hygiene, cleanup stuff, come back down, keep working, do daily stand-up, stream on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, hang out with you guys. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I just keep working through the day, catch up on the things that I miss out on finishing up on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. And then at 3:30, between 3:30 and 4 o'clock, go upstairs, cook dinner, eat with my wife, come back downstairs in front of that TV over there and do other work until about 9 o'clock. But I'm still hanging out with my wife from like 3:30, 4 o'clock until bedtime the next morning. So yeah. And then the weekends, I just try to completely remove myself from all work-related things and just hang out with my wife. No, she doesn't. Well, I would still call it early. It's like 6 that she gets up. Like, it's the time that I used to get up as my normal wake-up time. Oh man, and that was still way too early. I feel scammed. No hype train. Support me, chat. Pretty please. No, you definitely don't have to. Don't feel pressured. Don't give in to the peer pressure. Because of you, I am able to sleep until 9:55 a.m. if needed. Nice. Unless you're just waving off sleep. No, I actually get pretty decent amount of sleep though. Somewhere around 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours, 6 to 7 hours of sleep a night. If you never sleep, the time you get up no longer matters. Truth. However, your body will not be happy with you. There are people that can exist with very little sleep. And Kuroiten, hello. Kuroi. I get up at 9. I actually get up earlier on vacation than when I'm at work. Nice. Julia One says, since I have a kid, my nights became short at the wrong end. Yeah. I used to, when I was in university, because I had to fund it myself for the most part. I didn't really get grants, scholarships, etc. I had low marks in high school. And anyway, so I paid for university by myself with student loans and was trying to pay those student loans back and just make enough to live. I was working a full-time job while taking classes full-time at first, flunked out of my freshman year. Not just because of that, but also because of that. But I worked from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. Amazing schedule. I worked at a call center doing tech support, DSL tech support. It was such a good schedule for me though. And then I would sleep in my car for a couple hours, go to my classes, do my homework in the afternoons or other recreational activities, more likely is what I did, which is why I failed. And then did it all over again. So I'm definitely used to that. As a youth, back in my heyday, when I was like somewhere between 9 and 14, I barely slept at all. So I was used to that as well. But now I just want to treat this body better. Make it last as long as I can in good health, not just age, but health wise. It'd be nice to stay in good health. Okay. I'm expecting a 0. I want a 0. So when I push the plus sign again, I want a 0. So what if I just told it to be 0? Let's just do it. I put up at 8. Mentally at 7. So it was the case that it didn't really matter what time I went to sleep. If I woke up anytime at 8 or after, like I could have gone to sleep at 6 a.m. and woke up at 8, I would be alert. Anytime before that, like I could go to bed at 10 and wake up at 6 and just be completely exhausted. And XYZ says, I miss the days of not having to sleep for more than a few hours on average. Nowadays, I actually get tired. Getting old sucks. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely tired all the time. I was tired all the time anyway, but it was just more tolerable to be tired. One of my favorite things about being tired, though, is how creative you can be. Like, I mean, there's definitely a detriment to focus and accuracy, but I found that I can be extremely creative when I'm tired. And if there's something that I'm stuck on, I can just do it. Because when I'm really, really tired, it's like I don't really care about whether I'm doing this as right as I normally think things need to be done. I just want to get it done and move on to the next thing because I'm too tired to think about it. So on occasion, it benefits me to do that. Most of the time, I don't like it because I like doing things right the first time and completely. My sleep doc told me is that's really hard to read. You sleep when you need to. Don't think you need to get X number of hours. Think of it more as I need X hours of sleep a day. Yeah. Or like if your body is used to that pattern, then sticking with the pattern. If you want to sleep less, then wean yourself off of hours little by little. Do some techniques to make sure that you get a deeper sleep that is rejuvenating, not as tired or disturbed, such as reducing the amount of caffeine, increasing your water intake. But I'm not a doctor or health physician in any way, so these are just random musings. Things I've heard other people say. Wait, you're not a doctor? No, I only got a BS. Bull. Sleep.deep fixes sleep. Yes. Yes, it does. Nice deep sleep. Good, heavy, deep REM slip. How did we open over here? We're over here. You there. Refresh. I push magic buttons on my keyboard and the refresh happens. Oh my gosh, there's so many people streaming now that I lurk on, and I am not currently lurking on their channels. You and you. There. Actually, I'm going to go like that for now. Okay. Alt tabs to here. Click here. See chat. All intelligent creatures dream. Dr. Chandra, will I dream? I don't know that. Damn it, I'm an engineer, not a doctor. But yeah, I don't know that reference. Apparently President Not Sure does, though. Because President Not Sure knows all of them from the film 2010. Probably something I watched. It sounds like something I would have watched. All right. I need to know why. I was trying to use my keyword. 1 plus 22 plus doesn't give me my 0 here. Is it because when input is not dirty, it doesn't display the input? No. I'm going to go back and forth on this a few more times, but I think I want the input num to always display. Gosh, what's that going to do? That's going to break everything. Hello? Abadus. So again, I pronounce it Abadus, like Atticus or Thyrovius, but is it supposed to be Abadus? I know we talked about it before. Excuse me, why didn't you hot reload? Sure, sounds good enough. Everyone does it different. Okay. As long as it's not disrespecting you by pronouncing it a way that you don't want it to be pronounced, then I am good with you saying that. Okay. I don't get it. I don't know if it's just not hot reloading or if it's actually not taking the, or displayed num is not getting updated. If you have a deuce, you always find a way. Just say it backwards. Suovera. Oh, suoraba. Try not to get too offended over my made up name. I get so bent out of shape when people say one lion. It's pronounced one lion. Oh my gosh, what's wrong with you? I do not. I do not either. In fact, I am honored that you would choose to say my name in whichever way you choose to say my name. A Lavender Lion, for example. That was one of the best ones. Like, not even one of the best ones. That was the best one. I was really, really honored when you called me that. I'm like, this is exactly what it should be. You'll have to tell people that is the pronunciation. Soraba. Abadus. Keep clicking on this. I'm leaving 2 mails in my Outlook on my work computer unread because I need to do a couple of PRs as soon as we're done. PR reviews, I should say. And I don't want the emails to accidentally get lost when I click on a different folder, because then I'll just forget. Yes, and that is how I got the username on YouTube's 11D Lion. Handle, YouTube handle, 11D Lion. Okay, where are we? Canada. No, we're not. Don't lie to me. All right, what test did I break by doing that? I like how it always gets stuck on building Thindle source gen, which we never did finish. Why is my test debugger now having issues when I am running using .NET Watch? I don't get you. Is it because I'm running without the debugger attached? Okay, that puts this thing back the way that I had it, so I don't need to modify my original. So you're fine. And then the only thing that's breaking are my consecutive operator clicks. Cool. All right. Take me to this one. So this one is the 1 + 2 times +4. 1 + 2 times +4. And what we should get back, equals plus minus, sorry, equals plus minus. What we're expecting to get back is 1 + 2 is 3 times plus should give us back 7. So we currently have 7 in our input. Plus minus will bring us back to 0, right? Because when our operators are pushed in a row, actually we might be stuck on 7 still. Should this be 7? Gosh, so hard to think about. So we need to do this 1 plus 2 times plus 4 plus minus. 1 plus 2 times no wait plus 4 equals plus minus. Yeah, so we should, I think that I was okay with resetting the input value to 0 on submit. So I think that's why I'm okay with this thing being 0. So the only one that we really need to get working is 1 plus 2 times plus 4 equals plus minus equals. Are you going to run? It'd be nice if you ran. So, oh my goodness. Did I say thank you for the follow, Julian? If not, thank you so much for the follow. Really appreciate it. Well, one day soon, I will not have as much anxiety on stream. I mean, I'll still have anxiety, but just not the same anxiety. Okay, let's do this one and see if, which one is this? 1 plus 2 times plus equals plus minus equals. It's really, really hard to. 1 plus 2 times plus 4 equals plus minus equals. And so because 7 was still the thing that was in the input, this is Windows calculator. Anxiety equals new. No thanks. I refuse. It's read only. In fact, it's static. It's read only static. Or I guess it's more, I can't make it const because it's an object. Actually, can you make structs const? Public struct anxiety. Got me in a headlock, hold on me. Private const anxiety. No. You can't make structs const. I wish I could make anxiety equals null. Anxiety is always persistent. It will always be there. Every time we new ourselves up in the morning, my anxiety is always there. The thing that you get with anxiety, though, is this public decimal level. And it may, like, depending on who you are, it may default to something like 0.9. Oh, you can't do field initializers on a struct, man. But I mean, this shows up in startup for me. In fact, I think it might even be singleton. and dependency injected everywhere in everything. But regardless, static anxiety. No, just anxiety. And it's read only. Yes, default. And then the only thing that you can do is adjust the level. But there's also other information, you know, like cause, which could be an enum, or it could be another object. Maybe it's an IEnumerable of causes. Maybe instead of this just being an anxiety, you have public static IEnumerable of anxiety that always has at least one. Anyway, going too far with this. Going too far. Point is, anxiety is always there. Ain't that the truth? I've been on that struggle bus recently. Yeah, mine was just there. I often get to this point where it feels like there are so many things happening at the same time, and I just want at least 2 or 3 of them to be resolved. But I think I am getting to that point now. I did a thing to resolve one major one that has been causing me anxiety. I am stuck on this super duper weird thing. Okay, so you know I've been working on accessibility, especially when it comes to screen readers in our application. I have a side drawer that flies out from the side when you use one of the features. So let's say that when I click on, you're not going to see it. I know, it's not running. I know. No. Maybe it's because I had a different project type set as startup that I could do my test explorer stuff. Okay, so I have a side drawer that when you click on a thing, it opens up, and then it has this dismiss button. So for screen readers, what I want to do, or what I already did do, is I set it up so if you navigate to, and normally you would use screen reader key and it would have like blue little outlines on whatever it is that you have highlighted, you wouldn't be using the tab. When I activate that button, typically to open the side drawer, it takes the screen reader focus and puts it on the title of the side drawer pop-out. And that's cool, and it reads it, but the side drawer itself is a region that can be collapsed. So you know whether the side drawer is showing or not. And then everything else, when the side drawer is expanded, is ARIA hidden. So you can't see them using screen readers. But the thing that has been happening is, let's say that I told the side drawer region to say the account name and then account transaction history. So my ID for this would be some screen reader only label that says my checking or whatever account name, and then title. And it would read that. When I click or when I activate the second link, the thing that opens the side drawer to different content, it says the previous item's name, but then the title for the current content. So let's say that this, instead of saying account transaction history, says something more like savings history. So it would read my checking region savings history. And it's like, why? You are updating to say the right title in the same way for both things, but why are you now telling me that it's still the previous things? And of course, if I open the next one, it will read the previous one as the wrapper, the region wrapper. So I can't figure that out, but it's working otherwise. Everything else is not scroll or tab toolable. It's not screen reader accessible. Oh, so if anyone has any thoughts on that, I know it was kind of a bad example, but let's say that there are 4 different buttons on the screen that open different side drawer content. One of them is the account summary. One of them is the lookup lists that you happen to click on down here, and it shows you the list of values. Another one is, I don't know, other stuff, but it lags by 1. And this side drawer is never unrendered. It's always persistent. So the thing that happens is the drawer title. Let's just call it drawer title. So I'll have ARIA labeled by drawer title, ID, drawer title. And then say I had a excuse me, a label, question mark. Oops. And then this label has a class of screen reader only. And right now it might say checking. So when I open the side drawer, it reads this title as checking account transaction history. When I open it the second time, and this changes to savings, and let's say that the rest of the title changes to savings history, it still reads this as checking savings history. And I can't figure that out for anything. It's like both of them, and of course there's a space. There's a space. Both of them are showing as changing their values in the DOM, but the screen reader still reads old value and then new value. So just completely lost, confused. And this whole accessibility thing is preventing our app from being certified because it goes to the Microsoft Store. And so everything is kind of just sitting on me until I get this figured out so that they can approve our certification, our accessibility. We meet the minimum accessibility requirements, and we can get our app recertified so that we can ship our next release in September. Oh dear. That's in like 5 days? 3 days? I mean, we're shipping late December, September, but still, September starts in like 3.5 days. Crazy. So that was fun. Did we accomplish anything today? I think so. What did we accomplish? Does anyone know what we accomplished? I sure don't. But the joys of doing this on stream are that you got to see me do like 10 minutes of code and then we talked the rest of the time. So we had fun regardless, right? I hope you had fun, because I am going to go to this screen. No, we're already at the ending of the screen, of the scene, of the stream, of the thing. Identity server and Blazor and Wasm. Identity server and Blazor Wasm. Yeah, the only thing that's coming out of me right now is identity server and Blazor Wasm. Completely understandable. Anyway, we'll be back on Wednesday. Hopefully, I will have a lot more things under control, and we will be a bit more focused on finishing up this last test that we have. And what I want to do after getting this last test to pass, actually, it looks like two. Oh no, this one should work now. Getting the last test to pass that we have that's failing is implement the ability to use 10 key to type into the keyboard while it's showing on screen. Either 10 key or the number keys across the top. Either way, I want to be able to use keyboard input for the calculator. And we'll do that as soon as we get the test to pass. All of the tests to pass. Okay, other than that, I will be posting a recording of this video to the YouTubes no sooner than 24 hours after I end the stream. We will be back on Wednesday for the same type of deal as I mentioned already. If you are interested in hanging out with us some more, asking questions, answering questions, talking tech, or other things in general, feel free to join our Discord. We have a lot of really cool, friendly, amazing, wonderful people that hang out on our Discord. Other than that, I'm going to choose a raid target. Alicia Griffin is currently joined by her husband, Honest Dan Games, on her stream, but she has been learning C#, although what is she looking at? She's looking at JavaScript. She's looking at JavaScript. Why is she looking at JavaScript? Anyway, if you're interested in joining me, we're going to head on over to Alicia Griffin's stream. Okay, see ya. It means the same thing, right? And she rated us before. I wanted to rate her back. She's usually ending her stream around the same time that we're ending our stream, sometimes earlier, but she's been going longer today, so hopefully we'll get to the opportunity to do that. Until the next time, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you the next time you're around. Ciao for now. I'm waving. Still waving. Muting my mic.